What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, April 28th, and this is Bleakers Off. What's up, man?
Man, that's the last podcast before we actually know the fields, the draw, the who's doing what. I can't wait for this draw on Monday. I'm getting very anxious.
Kind of feels like you've gotten to the point now where it's like it's fun to talk about, and then you're like, all right, let's get it going. I'm ready. Like I've talked this through and through, and now we need to. Yeah, I mean, I almost called the show today like final derby, but it's not. I guess nothing's final until Saturday, really, next Saturday. But still, by this time, on Monday we see the draws. We know what's going on with everyone. Who's entered, who's not, and yeah, I mean, next Thursday we'll be in Louisville, and of course Oaks Eve, and so yeah, this is the final kind of pre-knowing anything or too much information podcast we're going to do next week. Obviously, it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, thank God, right? I mean, man, I was talking to my dad earlier, and he's like, I don't know how you guys have kept it going. I don't know how you guys keep finding stuff to talk about. I said, well, believe it or not, stuff happens every day that's relevant. So yeah, I mean, that's we've got some new stuff this week that we didn't have last week. So yeah, but I am just ready for the draw. I wish we were drawing tomorrow for it. I just can't wait to actually know where these horses are going to end up, and it's so important this year.
Yeah, the draw is huge, and next week we've been doing the live shows. So that's going to stay every day at noon. But then also next week we'll have the annual John White Blinkers Off, which probably won't be live due to technical issues. We've got to make sure we get the best quality from John. So we'll do that, and I'll be available on our YouTube channel. So that's a good reason to subscribe. So make sure you see that. But the annual Derby, it's a tradition like no other with John White and the Derby kind of analysis, and we talk Oaks, and it's just one of those that you and I come up with about 3 questions, and then we just sit back and listen, because we're like everyone else. When we listen to this thing, we're like, it's just amazing. It's just great to listen. So that's coming. We'll have a ton of Derby content once we know the fields, the guides coming out. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is I hope you're sleeping now, because you won't sleep next week.
No, absolutely not. No sleep until Sunday. We might sleep in Sunday, although we might go see the Derby winner on Sunday too. So maybe it's Monday when we finally get sleep. So that's fine though. We're used to it.
Who are we going to see on Sunday? That's the question.
That's the question. That's why everybody's tuning in. We're going to help you over this for the last month and over the next week. That's what we're here for.
No shit, man. Okay, well, yeah, let's just get to it. It's a little bit like last week's show, maybe a little more in depth in terms of what we know now. But today's show, we're just going to discuss the latest updates and news from the 2022 Kentucky Derby contenders, including Taiba's final workout. Taiba had a workout, his one and only workout prior today. So we'll talk about that, what we thought about that. Are we looking at possible pace meltdown? What's the pace kind of shaping up to be? Now we have Classic Causeway in the race, or back in the race, I should say. What long shot should you use to try to juice up your tries and your supers? Let's talk about it all right here, right now. Let's go. Yep, this is bring your questions on. Let's hear them. Kind of like last week, we'll just let this thing run and see what you guys have in mind. Do you want me to pull anything up here? Do you want it on the screen? We can just talk on here.
It's up to you.
Did Magic still have that? I wonder if Magic still has the. Yeah, he does not. the video of here. Yeah, let us know what you guys. We're going to kick things off with the Taiba work. So if you have any thoughts on the Taiba work, we want to hear them right now. Let's see here. All right. We're just 1 week out from Kentucky Derby 2022, Kentucky Derby 148. Almost here. We're almost it's Oaks Eve, a week from today. Derby obviously is what the main focus is. $3 million race, 20 horses. We're trying to think. We've been talking this. We cannot talk about it more. So we're in a final push here of updates and news and analysis and theories and just strategy. You name it, we're going to talk about it right here. We'll kick things off with today's big workout. I mean, it's like I can't think of a workout, at least in recent memory, that more people were interested in. And even people like us who don't necessarily take a lot of stock in workouts, you still, even when you saw the time, you're like, well, I need to see it. I need to see what that looked like, see what he looked like. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it didn't look very good, but they also said he's not a very good workhorse. So what can you really take of it? I think the biggest takeaway from it was it happened, right? I mean, he just needed a work. He was working with a maiden claimer. It looked like he had to be ridden pretty hard to get by. But again, they said it 2 or 3 times. They said it's exactly what we wanted, and he's not a very good workhorse. So, he's not going to impress you, I guess, out there in the mornings. It wasn't great. Yeah, you're going to get up on the screen now here, and we'll take a look at it here. Let's take this.
I'll take that off. Yeah, sorry.
You'll see it now. This is like I said, the workmate is a maiden claiming horse, and he breaks off about a half length or to a length behind him, and it basically takes a whole stretch for him to kind of get by him. He has to be ridden pretty hard. It wasn't a great looking work. There's just no way around him. He did kind of level his head off late and kind of seemed like to get going late in the work. So that was good. But there's nothing in here that's going to make you like, wow, he's ready, after this.
Yeah, the one thing about it that struck me is that, I mean, he did everything. Like, there's nothing bad about the work, but it's also not like, it's not spectacular. He didn't draw away from this horse that is not, I think he's a maiden claimer is what I saw. It's not, I mean, when he's asking him to run here, boom, he puts him away. He puts his head down and he's all business. And he barely asked him to do that. So, I mean, it's all great signs. It's not like he just would not get by him. He did, but you would like to see him draw out 5-6 lengths past him and just kind of cruise. And that would have kind of given you. Now, when you look at the times, I saw, someone mentioned on here, but like it's exact. If you look at times, it's identical basically to what he did pre-Santini Derby, right? Yep. I mean, it's exact same thing. So obviously, you shouldn't be too concerned about it if you like that. But I also don't know. Like when you watch it visually, especially when you have to take into place all the other aspects of, well, is he too tired? Why is he, this is only one workout. We're only going to have one workout. This was it. Did it gas him too much in that Santini Derby? You just don't know. And like you say, with him being a bad workout horse anyways, it just, I don't know. Like I mentioned on the live show today with the Derby stuff, it was just like, I feel like I didn't learn anything from it. I was on Taiba, and I'm pretty much just going to stay on him, I think, at this point, just because I like him too much. But maybe I won't bet as much on the win side as I planned on doing. Let's put it that way.
I don't think you should jump off of him. I think that's the right decision. Again, the biggest thing that had to happen was he actually worked, I guess I should say. I mean, he just needed to get out there. I don't really care. Obviously, if he went in 116, it wouldn't be great. But I didn't really care what he looked like. I just needed to see a work out of him. And so he did. And like I said on the live show today, we got 2 days before he has to get on the plane. Let's hope he gets on it. Let's hope he comes out of it all right. To me, that's why they worked him today and not Saturday. Let's give him a couple of couple of days to does he cool out? How does he come out of it? Things like that.
Hey, Kenny, the horse name was American Admiral. It's American Pharaoh sire horse. Huge. I mean, damn nice looking horse. You give him that, right? Look at him. This horse towers over Taiba. But American Admiral is the name of the horse. So
yeah.
And you go back and you watch the Santa Anita Derby, and to me, it's similar in a sense that you kept on waiting and waiting for him to be like, okay, maybe he's going to run second. Right here, you think, okay, well, he's running. And then once he puts his head down and kind of looks like his dad, like we talked about, go watch Breeders' Cup Classic, by the way, with Gunrunner 1. When he puts his head down, it's like game over. And he kind of makes you wonder, even though you only saw a glimpse of it in that workout, and maybe it wasn't overly impressive, him drawing off, it doesn't really matter who he's running against. He's gonna do this, So that's he puts his head down and he's all business. And to me, I still have to believe that's what we're going to see from him. I don't see anything that says we're not.
He does get really low to the ground once he gets serious, and that is like gun runner trait, like his dad said, for sure. One thing, and we watched the Santa Anita Derby live on a little TV at Keeneland, but I didn't realize how small this horse is. He's not a big giant horse whatsoever. The workmate today made him look like a midget. And you watch that replay there, and Messier is a much bigger horse as well. Not that means anything one way or the other, but I think, when you're watching works and you watch a horse gallop, sometimes the bigger ones are a little more flashy, and he's certainly not flashy. That's not how I would describe him at all. But look, the bottom line is he's had 2 absolutely exceptional races, and if he runs back to those 2 races, none of this is going to matter. He's going to win. And so to me, it's like, I don't have him on top, but you're throwing him off of your ticket at your own risk. It's just, he could make you look dumb one way or the other. To me, he is the epitome of a defensive use in this race.
Yeah, and honestly, I just don't see how, because I believe, and I've said it all along, I still think he is, all things, being equal. He obviously has issues, injury issues or whatever, but he's the most talented horse in the race. And I will stand by that, and I'll argue with whoever wants to argue with me. Epicenter is a very close 1B there. And I think it's those 2, really, frankly. Like, Messier is close, but he's not there. So even if he doesn't have if he's not 100%, I don't think Taiba needs to be 100% to at least compete in this race and have a good shot to win. Maybe he loses. If you remember, you go back and watch. I don't want to compare him to Pharaoh, because obviously Pharaoh won the Triple Crown. That's why I hate when people compare him to Justified. But Pharaoh's Derby was easily his worst. He just won that because he was the best horse in the race. And now, again, I'm not comparing him to Pharaoh yet. We'll see. But you still wonder, like, even at the class alone, could that carry him through here in terms of his ability, at least enough to where top the stretch, down the stretch, he's right there, and we'll see. But I find it hard to believe, like, he's spinning his wheels and going up the track. If he's in the race, I feel like he's going to show up.
It seems to be, it seems to be that's how it is, right? I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. If they enter him, he's probably going to run pretty well. And it could be a situation, you kind of talked about it earlier today. Maybe he shows up in Kentucky and he runs really, really well. And then it's like, how in the hell can he run 2 weeks later? If he's having a little bit of trouble getting back into it, which he should after a huge race like that. But then you have to run huge again. Well, then you got 2 weeks. Maybe that's when you can play against him. I don't know. I just think you're playing with fire, trying to leave him off. I just think, end of the day, he's very, very talented. He's some kind of a freak, and you just gonna have to play him and bite the bullet, so to speak. I just think it's very dangerous saying, well, he's not going to show up. I don't think we've got enough proof here to say he's not going to show up.
I think I still feel very confident. Although I will say, Zandon, we want you. You talk about horses stock up and down. Zandon keeps going up for me in terms of I like him more and more. Especially if I wish I could like get a preview of where he's at, like on the first turn, because then I would feel a lot better about it, because I do think if he's in a good position, he is going to be dangerous. I know in particular, you keep getting closer and closer to Zandon. I think he's maybe started at 5 and he's gone all the way to top 1 or 2 for you. So talk a little bit about that, but also this pace situation, with Classic Causeway now back in the race. We lost, the other, Zandon's stablemate, but we also got the other speed back in Classic Causeway, Messier. There's so much, even if you don't get to the lead, there's so much early speed or early horses that need to get position in this race that it kind of makes you think that like the first half mile is going to be pretty quick, sub 40, sub 47.
I mean, with Classic Causeway in the race, I think we're going to get a decent pace here. I don't think it's going to be overly fast, but there's a lot of horses that want to go. So yeah, I certainly think Zandon can make a little bit of sense. But the big thing about it is, I don't care how good he looked. It's just you're going to have to be better than last. You're just going to have to be. You can't follow the last again. If you watch the Bluegrass, he looked like he was going to sit more towards the middle, and he got kind of shuffled back, and he was last on the turn. Very good turn of foot on the turn. That's very important. But I think Flavian's going to have to give him the country house type of ride. I think Flavian's going to have to get him a little more involved. I'd like to see him in like 10th instead of 18th, 19th, 20th. And if he's sitting there, I think he's got a shot. Like I said, he's proven in his last 3 races he can make a move on the turn, and then he can still finish. So, yeah, I mean, it's all going to depend on the posts. If some of the other contenders get bad posts on Monday, I could see myself picking Zandon. I'm not far off of it. He's not number 1 as of right now, but he just keeps kind of getting better with each day. It's like, yeah, he's pretty good. And yeah, they've kind of made the right moves with him, and they've kind of built him up for this race. So I think he's definitely one of the main contenders out of the, I think there's 4: Epicenter, Zandon, Taiba, Messier. It's going to be one of those 4. And I think the post is going to go a long ways in determining who I end up picking.
I've never liked a horse more, and also kind of secretly maybe wish that he would like draw the 1 hole just so I could like be like, okay, because I feel like I need one of these horses to draw the 1 spot so they can help answer my my question, because that or maybe Barber Road will get the 1. That's maybe the horse that belongs to the 1 spot, but it kind of you're kind of secretly wishing that one of these contenders that you are really between draws that 1 spot or the 20 spot or 17, since never wins, to give you that reason to say, okay, that's my reason. I'm not going to pick him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Taiba to get the 1, to be completely honest, just because it's such a problem. If he draws the 1, well, it's like, well, now at least I feel a little bit better that I didn't pick that horse to win. I'm hoping somebody like that gets the 1. Listen, a lot of times it's like, don't let any of the contenders get that hole.
I know.
This year it's like, yeah, that's fine. Let them have it. Because it's usually, like I said earlier, when you get to this spot, you might say the draw means everything, but you know who you're picking. I truly don't right now coming into this. I really don't. And like I said, most years you've got a pretty good idea who you're going to pick, well, no matter where they draw.
I'm with you. Here's the thing. I went from that day after the Stancina Derby with Bluegrass when we were there. I was like, hey, Taiba's my horse. I picked him to win that race. I'm picking him in the Derby, That was locked up. And then as we've gone down this road, and you start to realize how hard it is for a horse to to do what he's done. And you look, and then you compare him to Justify numbers and realize, well, maybe he's not. I mean, he's not Justify. You know, when you look at the numbers of Justify entering this race, and it's like there's so much stacked up against him, and I just need this race to run and draw and run, so I can. So I feel like in a week's time, I might end up on Mo Donegal at this point. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, that's not going to happen.
I don't think you're going to end up on Mo Donegal.
I did think this was very interesting. It was from, I don't know if you read John's article yet this week, and this is props to John, who does the weekly articles for expressbet.com. Go make sure you check that out. Again, John will be on the show next week, so if you want his analysis, that's a show you must watch. And honestly, I don't make a single bet in the Kentucky Derby any year without getting his analysis, and helps when you are friends with the guy. But listen, so he's a big Thorograph guy. I don't know who listens to this show, who else is, and I like to look at all the numbers. But so I'll read it directly from his analysis. So Taiba recorded a Thorograph number of -0.5, which is the lowest of the field of the Kentucky Derby in the Cincinnati Derby. The number in his debut victory was a 2. So Epicenter has not got a 2 or anything at all yet. He's got 2.5. He's recorded a 2.5 twice. First when he won the Risen Star, and then once in the Louisiana Derby. So Epicenter's 2 best races don't even match his debut, at Taiba's debut, which is was a 2, and then he got a -0.5, which I say is like, if you want to, when you look at Thoros, a 2.5 to compared to a negative is huge. Anytime you can get a horse just at a 3-year-old at this stage in the negatives and a Thorograph number, because obviously the lower the better with Thoros, that's huge. I mean, that's a big time number. Now, if you're like looking at that, I mean, I think Messier, what was it? Messier had like 1.5 maybe on both his starts this year. So, I mean, it's not, if you're looking for a horse that you can maybe rely on a little more, he seems very doable to kind of stick in that range once again. And if nothing else, he could improve. But yeah, Messier to me is the one that, well, yeah, 1.5 Thorograph for Messier, according to John's article there. So still another horse that's a whole point better than Epicenter. So you just kind of wonder, it just makes you think how good, are we going to see like we look back to Farrell's year, Farrell, Dortmund, so RIP to him, man. That's crazy news that Dortmund passed away today. Dortmund, firing line, all California horses. They were the class of the race. It kind of makes you wonder, are we going to see a Taiba Messier exacta here?
I think that's why a lot of people are starting to get on Taiba, including John White. If you looked at his rankings, he actually moved Messier. A lot of people are starting to get on Messier. And if you look at John White's rankings, he moved Messier ahead of Taiba this week. And it's like, well, Taiba had the hiccup, but let's look at Messier. And I get it. And honest to God, this is not to throw shade on Thorographs. They've never, ever, not one time helped me pick a winner, ever. I don't know what it is. I've never had any luck at all with Thorographs. But when you look at the time forms, Messier ran a 124 in the Robert B. Lewis, and they ran a 122 in the Santa Anita Derby. And you look at Epicenter, he ran a 111 in the Risen Star and a 116 in the Louisiana Derby. So Messier, 2 clear numbers better than Epicenter. Let's look at Taiba, a 119 for his maiden special weight win. That's better than anything Epicenter has done, just like Thorographs. And then he got a 124 in the Santa Anita Derby, obviously better than Epicenter, and right on par with what Messier did in the Robert B. Lewis. So the figures match up, Thorographs and time form. They've come to the same conclusion that these 2 horses out in California are faster than everybody else in the race. A matter of fact, if we're talking time form, the 3rd best overall number comes from early voting. He got a 121 in the Wood. He was number 3. And let's see, Mo Donegal got a 120 in that race. And you might think, well, Mo Donegal won. Why has he got a lower number? Well, pace is involved. And if you set a hot pace and hold on, you get a better time form number. So that would be why he's a little bit ahead. And then Zandon with a 118 in the Bluegrass. That's next. So we just mentioned 4 horses that have better time form numbers. than the favorite epicenter.
Yeah, and I think I saw Thorograph figure. So according to Thorograph, is each number on the sheet represents a performance rating arrived by using time of the race, beaten links, ground lost or saved on turns, weight carried, and any effects wind conditions had on the time of the race. So it goes into a lot more detail. And with those, you can have a winner have a higher thorough than, say, the second place horse. Whereas buyers, you're always going to have the winner's going to have the highest buyer. So you know what I mean, and so on and so on. So in these, it's a way to reflect like value, so to speak, where you can compare apples to apples, maybe in a better way. But like you say, all these numbers are, take with a grain of salt. I mean, I think we know that by now. But if John White relies on him like he does now, and he's a huge buyer guy. I mean, that's what he grew up with. That tells you a lot there. And I think it just more than anything, use him as a little bit of a tool. You don't have to be like, only like he's lower, so I've got to use him. It's just more like if you're kind of leaning one way or another and you need that, if you're leaning epicenter versus Taiba and you see that negative half to a 2.5 in the Louisiana Derby, you might say, because even if Taiba regresses off the Cincinnati Derby by those numbers, he still competes.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. And it's the same with the time form. And they need to be within a certain range of each other, right? Like Taiba's 124, and then I see people talking about White Barrio, his best is 112. That's when that range is like, yeah, that gap's a little too far right there, right? But 124, 118, he comes down now to your handicapping and who's going to get the better trip and who's going to get the better setup, etc. So I agree with Jared 100%. If one horse has a 124 and one has a 123,
yeah,
it is what it is, right? I mean, it's close enough where you don't need to worry about or stress about that one number. But if in Thorograph, if they're 3 away from each other, that's a big gap. If they're 10 away from each other with time form or buyer, that's a big enough gap to be concerned.
I've seen this asked a few times. I'll give Shoddy the shout out since we give her so much shit all the time about Barber Road. Does Messier shut down in a stretch battle? That's kind of the question that a lot of people, and myself included, you kind of wonder. He gets atop this. I don't necessarily think there's going to be a concern. I don't doubt that he's going to be in the lead at the top of the stretch. I really don't. But when he gets headed by Epicenter, Taiba, White Barrio, whoever it is, Mo Donegal, I mean, Zandon, I mean, is he going to fight back? And I just don't know that he is,
Hasn't done it yet. That's all I can really comment on it, right? To me, he just hasn't shown that fight. You have to think somebody will head him. I see Bree saying, maybe it's Zandon. Well, Zandon, Epicenter, Taiba,
that's just it.
Somebody's going to
one of those is, I mean, maybe they don't all fire. One of them is going to fire.
To me, if he wins it, if he could just get clear and they just can't ever get to him, then he's going to win. If he gets headed, I think it's more of a second or third place horse. That's where I'm at this point. But, he was extremely flashy in the Robert B. Lewis. That was a big time effort. And, it kind of just came crashing down a little bit in the San Diego Derby. But like I said, get out in front, ride him as hard as you can. Maybe that last 16th of a mile extra, last eighth of a mile extra for him, it does the trick. Horses are tired and he's not, and they just can't quite get to him. That's what he needs to hope for. And that's why I think with him, not the rail, but give me an inside position, 5 through 9. Get him to the front, get him out on the rail, get him ahead, and just pray that they don't come to you. That's how he wins it. He's speedy enough to do it. It's just a matter, how do you draw, and will he break well and get there?
The concern, though, is how cheap is the speed of Classic Causeway in this race? Do you let him go out knowing he's going to come back, or do you put it to him fearful that you let him out on the lead, he's dangerous out on the lead on alone. That's the concern. And then what does that do to say Messier? Or if Messier also wants to go, I mean, JV knows a thing or two. John Velasquez knows a thing or two about getting a horse to the front and just going the whole way around. Is he going to say, well, piss on you. If you want to go with me, that's fine, but we're going to go fast. So that, to me, those two horses are the two that are the most intriguing when it comes to, I don't know for sure who's going to be on the lead and who's going to want it more.
Yeah, that's just it. I think Classic Causeway, they're going to kind of just say, go on, and you can have it out there. But there's enough speed to where they're not going to let him get like 2 lengths clear, right? Like maybe Messier doesn't do it, but maybe it's Zozo's that says, yeah, I can't go out there. Maybe it's Epicenter. He can run, so maybe it's something like that, where it's like, yeah, I mean, he's the fastest one, but there's other horses with speed. They're not going to let him just get away. Summers tomorrow, maybe he goes out on a suicide mission as well. I think what happens is there's no question without any doubt who's going to go to the front. That's Classic Causeway. And then some of these contenders that are actually real contenders, like the Messiers and the Zozos of the world, even a Taiba, even an Epicenter, they'll kind of judge what's happening in front of them. Oh, shit, he's out there and nobody's with him. Well, we better get a little closer.
So first of all, we talked about this pace a little bit. I mean, how concerned are you of pace? Do you think we're going to see, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but in terms of a horse that you like or don't like, I mean, what are you going to want to see from this race in terms of how it's going to set up best for, your horse?
Right now, my horse is Epicenter. It's getting shakier with every day, but it is for the moment. I mean, for him, you just like to see a couple of horses go out there ahead of him, and he just sits the same trip as the Louisiana Derby and rolls by him. I think it's going to set up perfectly for stalkers. I really don't think the closers, it's not going to be a great setup. I don't think they're going to burn it up. I think it'll just be kind of a moderate pace. I don't think any of the horses that are going to be on the lead can hold it. And I think your Messiers, Epicenters, and Taibas are going to be right there. You're going to turn for home, and those three are going to have a sprint for the win. I think that's exactly how it's going to set up.
So Epicenter is going to be the favorite. I don't think there's a doubt there, right? I mean, he's been silent. He's oddly silent, right? The whole thing. It's just like, we've talked about how boring this horse is for a favorite of the Derby. It's like, well, okay, and that might be like why you kind of want to try to beat him. At the same time, it's like, well, should you? Maybe he's just better. So he's the favorite. What do you think? Like 4-1, somewhere around there? Yeah, I think that's probably what you'll see. Zandon, I kind of the way this is going with Taiba, I wouldn't be surprised if Messier is lower than him. They might be close. Really, I think they'll be close. I think you're getting every bit of 5-1 on Taiba, 6-1 maybe.
And there lies the problem with me picking Epicenter, because Taiba and Messier are probably going to be like 6 or 8-1.
It's very playable horses.
They shouldn't be that. And Zandon, that's like Mr. Guitar thinks Zandon will be the favorite. I think he's going to take a lot of money, and
that's a good point. Maybe he does, and if not, if he's very close, and that lies the issue with. That's not the issue. Why Taiba and Messier look juicier and juicier as we get closer.
That's the problem, because Zandon, it's like I'm sitting here going, man, I'd kind of like to pick him, but I kind of have this feeling too that he's just going to take way too much money than he needs to take in this spot. And that's not, and again, when we say that, it's not like we're saying, well, he too much money, so there's no way he can win. No, what we're saying is, when you got 4 horses you're trying to side between, you're going to lean to the ones that have the better odds, right? And I'm afraid Zandon might take too much money. And if it's this, there you go. If it's this, Epicenter 4-1, Zandon 5-1, Taiba 6-1, Messier 8-1, it almost forces my hand to pick Taiba or Messier in the race.
Wasn't Was he higher than that? Wasn't 8? Didn't he get 8-1 on what's his name last year?
On Medina Spirit?
Was he 8-1 or was
I
he
think
higher
he was
than that?
9-1.
Okay.
He was single digits, but I think he was 9-1.
Yeah, that becomes a problem. I mean, I get 4-1, it's 4-1, but he isn't Pharaoh. He isn't Epicenter. I mean, like he
Yes.
isn't Justify. He isn't. I get they were a little lower than 5-2 or so, 3-1, depending on what But I just 4-1's. I don't know. It just seems like it's too low. Messier to me. I'm gonna have if that's what it's at. I'm gonna have a hard time picking between Taiba and Messier.
Yeah. By the way,
8-1 is.
Sorry, Medina Spirit was 12-1.
Oh, was it? I thought he was single digits too.
I thought he was too, but I just got looked up and it was 12-1. Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned something, and it's a good point. Epicenter has a great shot to win, but he's not Pharaoh. He's not Justify. He's not Nyquist even. That talking about how likely he was to win that race going into it. Nyquist looked really good. California Chrome, Pharaoh, Justify.
Yeah,
we choked down 5-2, 3-1 on those horses. I get Epicenter might be a click better at 4-1, but boy, he's tough to swallow at 4-1. He just is. And Mattress Mac last year, he made Essential Quality a heavy favorite, and supposedly he's betting a lot on the favorite this year. It's just he's not a standout. He's not.
Okay, so I'm trying to go through some of these questions. Yeah, I think the comments are going like crazy. Like we'd love to see. All right, let's talk. So I'm with you. I think a lot of us on the team are in agreement that it feels like it's going to be a somewhat chalky on top race. I don't know that any of us are picking. I mean, 8-1. That might be in terms of that. If we're going off those odds, 8-1 is probably the highest we're going on top. 8-6, 8. We'll just say 4-8-1. But and even underneath, I mean, on the exacta, maybe you're going crazy. But let's go through some horses that maybe depending on draw or what you see their morning line at or whatever, that you're starting to open up to a little bit in terms of using, on your tries. It might make this thing pop, even if you get Taiba or Epicenter or Zandon or whoever home.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of the goal here. You gotta try to find somebody who's going to be a decent price for third. I banged the drum of Zozo's a lot, so I'll keep it going there. I think he's got a great shot to kind of get up there, get in position, and just hold on for a piece of it. I think he's going to need some help from the horses from behind. A couple of them maybe not to get through, but he's going to get great position. He's another one that the post is really, really important for him. But if he gets that position, he kept running in the Louisiana Derby. He was able to gallop away from Pioneer Medina in the stretch. He was able to, close the gap somewhat on Epicenter late in that race. So for me, it's Zozo's. I think he's going to be that 20-25-1 shot that kind of has a shot to get up there.
I think there's. I think Cyberknife is the other. I mean, I know they're both Brad Cox. Cyberknife, I've been against, and I keep kind of going back to a little bit. In one of those that you feel like I dismissed too much, and then maybe he could hit the board. Obviously Mo Donegal. I think I'll be using him everywhere on the bottom half. Of course, he's not a huge price. I know you're a little bit more. Well, you're probably a lot more against it, but assuming Pioneer Medina gets in, I think that horse underneath at a huge price, I could possibly get on board with. And the only third and fourth spots, I doubt I would put in the second spots. But if you're kind of going off of what he's done in the past, he's been running against Epicenter twice, and he's not been close, but he also hasn't completely embarrassed himself either. So hitting it underneath there could be possible. I think he has enough early speed to where he'll be around late at least. But yeah, I mean, you got to get creative on these underneath horses because you have to look past kind of the reasoning and hope that they come home. And that's why, when we love playing, and honestly, we should have had it last year. I still lose sleep over the try we didn't hit with Medina Spirit because we had the horse on top and we messed up the an eye best up the underneath. And, you got to get creative with those horses underneath. And I think that this year you have an opportunity to go light in that top spot. Take your opinion, press it, and get kind of creative underneath.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do as well. You probably should throw one horse that's just kind of dumb in there because just you never know. There's usually one that comes into fourth or third. If you're playing the super, it's like, oh my gosh, we had the try, but that super, we never could have got that horse. So in that fourth spot, you have to get real creative. I see a ton of people talking about Waidabario, and he seems to be getting ignored a little bit. Not in this chat, but as far as the hyped horses, he's one. If he floats up to that 12 to 15 to 1 mark, he makes a ton of sense underneath. I don't think he can win. He makes a ton of sense underneath. He should not be 12, 15 to 1. I saw somebody said, hey, 8 to 1 or better, sign me up. You're getting it. You're not going to get under 8 to 1. You're going to get it. So if you like him, the price is going to be there for Waidabario. It just depends on his odds, but he makes a ton of sense at a longer price, like 15 to 1.
I wanted to tuck on this comment real quick, D-Sauce. He said, talking about Epicenter, I think I would take 4 to 1. And I want to be clear on something. If you like Epicenter, like you love this horse you have, pound that. Because when are you going to get 4 to 1 on that horse again? And listen, you're looking at two guys who pounded the shit out of American Pharaoh and Justify at, 5 to 2? Because we're like, when are you ever going to get that price on these horses again? Mm-hmm. And we did. And because we heard that, but we were super heavy on them. We were very confident. And if you're that kind of confident on Epicenter, or name your horse, especially this race more than any race in all year, maybe in the world, where it's so easy to let someone talk you off a horse, or or as you think about it more, you become less interested, or I'm not going to bet as much as I was going to, or whatever. Like 4 to 1's 4 to 1. I mean, if you love Epicenter, 4 to 1 when this horse has been much, much lower than that. So I just wanted to be clear, like, just because we're saying, like, I don't know if I can play 4 to 1 on Epicenter, it's because we aren't necessarily huge on Epicenter.
Well, the bottom line is if Taiba draws one or two and Messier draws like 16 and Epicenter draws 8, I will play 4 to 1 on Epicenter. I'll be the first to say it. He will be the pick. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I can't stress how important this draw is. It is so important this year. And it always is. But this year, it is really, really important.
Listen, Steve says 5 on his try, 5 by 5 by 19. Yeah, I mean, I think even I would find a way to, like, I would leave out someone in the second spot. I guarantee you. I'd hit the top spot. I think I could hit the third spot. But yeah, the second spot, there'd be some random horse. That's the thing too about the Derby. Sometimes you got to get weird in that second spot, just because, that could really screw things up. Or you might be sitting there thinking, why not just play like $100 exacta on Taiba and Messier? Call it a day. Bam. There's you're an 8 to 1 and 6 to 1 on those horses. I think they're the two best horses. Boom. I mean, it maybe isn't that difficult either.
I think this one is easy easy for the sake of a Derby as far as the exotics go. I really do. It's just trying to get the right horse in the right spot, but I don't think you have to play 19 in the third spot. I think you got to go 2 over 3 over about 6 for the try.
Here's a horse. Get there. Here's a horse that you talk about, a horse that's and it's like, Waidabario isn't getting any talk. This horse certainly isn't, because he got beat by Waidabario, and that's Simplification. I mean, we haven't, and I'm myself, like, we haven't talked about this horse at all. I don't even know if we've mentioned him on the live shows the last 2 times. That's how far down he is. But going into the Florida Derby, Simplification obviously was, like, well, what can he do here? So is there any interest on him underneath?
Not much for me. I don't have any idea what he's ever going to do, and that's problem number one. Will he be on the lead? Will he stalk? Will he be dead last? I mean, we've seen him do everything. He doesn't break well consistently out of the gate. Well, you could lose it in a second. If he doesn't break well here, it's over. His chance, get to the lead or on the lead or close to the lead. He's got to get out of the break. He's got to get that Florida Derby type positioning. He cannot do much with the Fountain of Youth or Holy Bull type positioning. It's just not going to happen. Maybe fourth. I just can't see him getting into the try, fourth, fifth, sixth. He kind of is like a great candidate to finish like eighth because he's really consistent, but he just doesn't have a lot of flash. He doesn't have a lot of finishing power. It just kind of seems like he's going to be in the middle of the pack to me. But I have a lot of respect for him. I just don't think he's quite good enough.
Over under $65 for a buck in the exacta. Definitely would go. Let's see. So back when Authentic won, the exacta paid. Yeah, that was a $2 exacta paid $41, and that was Authentic over Tiz the Law.
Yeah,
it might be under. Although last year you had, that exacta was better. You had what was that, $500 because you had Medina over Mandaloon.
Yeah, it was huge because you had two huge prices. I can't see it being over $65 for an exacta.
And even like the Justify year, Justify over Good Magic, which was 3-1, say over 10-1 Good Magic.
Mm-hmm.
That $2 exacta paid $69. So it's possible for sure. I'd say right in that $60 mark is probably fairly likely, especially considering we're talking if you are playing Taiba or Messier, for instance, you're getting better price. You're not getting the favor on either one of the exactas, so I think you're going to get 60 plus on it. Plus, if you really feel confident, pound it. That's what we like to do. Pound it, and then you can make that return 3, 4, 5 times it.
Yeah, I think for $1 it'll pay about 35 for the California exacta, one way or the other.
Yeah,
and like I said, you play that for $10. That's $350 if it comes in. So there's money to be made right there.
Let's see what else do you want to talk about here? Any questions, comments?
Gosh, take your pick. There's so many. Anyone you put on there, I'll answer.
I'm surprised we haven't had many Charge It questions. He seems like the wise guy horse. We talked about him a lot yesterday on the show. Yeah. Imagine Charge It's going to work. Has he got a schedule work probably this weekend?
Yeah. Almost all the horses will work on Saturday. I think Messier is due for another one on Saturday as well. Both Todd horses. Zandon has got one. Most of them will have one more, and it'll be either Friday, Saturday. So, Charge It certainly is one that's going to catch a ton of people's eye. He's going to be the wise guy horse coming into this thing. He's got a lot of talent. We'll just find out. I don't think he can improve enough in this race to do it, but I do think he's one that he's got a lot of talent. You're going to have to watch for him. He's going to make some noise at some point on this Triple Crown Trail if he stays healthy.
Who's one of your horses that is like top flight, 15-1 you're expecting or lower, who you're just 1,000% adamantly against? Ain't happening. Don't twist my arm. It's not going to happen. Like if I say, hey, we're going to throw this horse in our ticket on our guide, you're saying, no, we're not.
Do you think Tiz the Bomb's going to be 15-1?
If he is, then I would totally agree with you there. Maybe he might be in that 15-1 range.
Yes. Do you think Cyberknife's going to be in that 15-1 range?
For the Derby winner, Arkansas Derby winner?
Yeah.
He probably is, yeah.
I don't like him very well. It's hard because I don't know who's going to be in that range. And I know you don't either. We're taking guesses here. Those two, I think they're going to take money, and I'm against. So that would be the answer to the question. I think Smile Happy's another one that might be like that 10-1 range, and I could see him hitting the board. So I'm not going to answer him. But yeah, Tiz the Bomb, Cyberknife, those are horses that they get bet down under 20-1. You don't really want much to do with them. They need to be a big price to be bet in this race.
Crown Pride, where are you at with that horse?
He's not for me. And that's listen, I'm not going to talk you off him if you want to bet him. I understand Japan's been dominating. He's not for me. I'm not going to take the UAE Derby winner until they prove it. He could beat me this year, and maybe I'll change next year. It's never done me wrong before. I'm not taking him. He's not one for me.
So I'm looking at, let's see here. I'll share my screen. I don't know that I mean, Crown Pride is going to have to beat me as well. I don't have any interest in using him. I
mean, and I get why people are. I'm not bad mouthing people, talking down to people. I'm just saying he's not for me, right? Oops. Like Rattle and Roll, for example. People always, that was one that just came up every time he ran into prep, and I'd say the same thing. He's not for me.
So right now, you're looking at AM Showers, 65 the high. Showers, it says, on Thursday. So all day Thursday could be possible. That's great. And then Friday, AM Showers. Then, of course, Saturday is clear. So to me, I don't, it'd be six, it'd be a little cool, but I don't necessarily feel like there's any concern here that you need to be handicapping one way or another versus for rain.
No, and again, it's too far out, number one, and number two, you can't worry about that until it happens. Many times we see forecasts and it's gloom and doom, and it doesn't. There's nothing that comes of it. So I'm not too worried about it. I don't think we've ever been there for a 3-day stretch, Derby through Saturday, and it doesn't rain one day. So
I know, right?
Surely it'll rain one of those 3 days.
Well, shit. I mean, even the year, Justify's year, they kept saying, "Well, it's gonna stop. It's gonna stop." And it got worse. It got worse the more the day went on.
Yeah, that year was incredible. They said 10 o'clock it'll stop, noon for sure. Never did. It poured the whole day. It was disgusting.
And that was the thing about that horse. Like even with all the things up against him, and that's another thing too. It's like if it does, and surely Taiba can't overcome that as well, right? Rain and all the first, and Justify was able to do so that year. But yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it does rain, the horse definitely is going to be Tiz the Bomb when it comes to overplayed. That horse is going to get a ton of play because of his turf pedigree.
Yeah. I think Zozo's becomes a stronger play with that Munnings pedigree. People are asking, you want to talk about the Oaks real quick?
Yeah, might as well, right? I always want to say, don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I feel like that's bad to say that for a Derby race. But still, we've talked a lot about it, right? So let's talk about the Oaks. We haven't talked a ton about the Oaks, and really, you don't necessarily until the draw for that. But so who's your Oaks horse? The O, Kathleen O. You really like her, huh?
Give us your O face, everybody. Kathleen O. Show us the O face. I love that horse. Yeah.
So you're super on her.
Yeah, it would take a lot for me not to play her on top at this point. I like Echo Zulu. I think she'll run better, but I think the O is able to run her down. Secret Oath, I maybe gets third. I'm not too worried about her. Nest, I am. That's one I maybe could go for, but give me the O face, Jared. I'm going Kathleen O on top.
Give me the O face. The more that we've gotten closer, I was not necessarily against Kathleen O, but I wasn't necessarily totally on her. I think Secret Oath didn't do herself any favors in the Arkansas Derby. I think she might be up against it a little bit here. Echo Zulu didn't impress me in her last race. Kathleen O, man, she's just been awesome. There's really not a lot of holes in her game right now. And, Shug, when he's got a good one, he deserves it, right? Nest was nice.
Nest scary. Yeah.
For Todd Pletcher, the Nest horse kind of came out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere, but kind of last minute addition, I would say, that when she rolled in the Ashland. And we've seen this before with Pletcher and Malathot. We're kind of weighted, boom, boom, and then wins the Oak. So Ness, to me, I'm with you. I think I like Kathleen O on top. That's one definitely I'm waiting to handicap until the draw for sure. But I'm against Echo Zulu and Secret Oath. I'll just say that. No, I think they're gonna. I mean, I'm not like, I don't want to say like I don't like them, but from the top spot, I'm not necessarily leaning on either one of those.
Yeah, that's just it. I don't know. The new rider makes me excited about Secret Oath a little bit. I like that Luis Saez gets aboard. That's certainly a Dwayne Lucas guy. He's won some big races for Dwayne, and certainly I think Secret Oath is going to improve. I think Secret Oath has more early speed than what she's shown. I think that's been the biggest problem with her rides. Even the races she's won, it's like she wants to go early. So I think she can sit a little bit closer. I'm interested in her. I'm not going to leave Echo Zulu off a ticket because if she gets sharper off that effort, she could make you look foolish in a hurry. But yeah, end of the day, Kathleen O, I think it's going to be awfully tough. And I'm with you. Nest is going to be. Listen, that was very impressive. So we'll see, what can happen with Nest. But give me the O.
Any prices that you're considering? At least underneath things like that.
No, I think it's fairly straightforward. I would be surprised if we get an upset of any sorts here.
I did see earlier today that side note that Doppelganger and Newgrange are coming for the Pat Day, and then Adair Manor, who was an Oaks horse, that's what made me think of it, is going to run in the 8 Bells. So those are the California invasion going on at Churchill, and the Yactine invasion, I should say.
There you go. I also read today that Jack Christopher is probable for the Pat Day Mile, so that's kind of cool. I have no expectations for him. I have no idea if I'm going to even pick him or not, but it's kind of cool that we finally get to see him after we picked him to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year and he scratched and we never got to see him. So it's nice that we'll get to actually maybe see him.
Picked him in the Juvenile. You picked him in the first round of the Fantasy League, and he's been one hell of a. You knew. That's what you said when you drafted him. I thought you said Pat Day. That's what we're thinking about, the Pat Day as a starting point.
Yeah. And
we'll see from there, right? I think that was the plan all along. All systems are go.
Yeah, right. Well, we're excited for the Pat Day.
Wait, my first round pick's on the turf now, so don't worry about it. So,
well, the problem with Jack Christopher for fantasy league purposes is even if he wins the Pat Day, where are you gonna go? He's not a Belmont horse. He's probably gonna go to the Woody Stevens and take on your horse Wit. And we'll have a great battle for 5 points.
For 5 points. Yeah, at least mine was in the 5th round. My Wit horse, anyways. So you had to pay for the first spot. Yeah. Could it be possible that you? I don't know how much your against are like overvaluing the Echo Zulu's race, or over devaluing Echo Zulu's race. Like, could she just go out and be like, "Hey, remember me? Like, I'm really good still." And you tried to beat me, and I won.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to put her on a ticket because I agree. That could happen. We've seen her be pretty darn brilliant, right? She'll run better. But we've also seen 2-year-olds, when they turn 3, they're just not quite like they were because other horses have kind of caught up to them. And so that's the question. If you believe in Echo Zulu still, you're just saying, she needed a race, she'll be fine. If you're trying to go somewhere else, you're kind of look at it and saying, well, I still think she's good, but I think they've caught up with her and they can beat her here. So that's where I'm at there. I've heard a lot of people say Kathleen O might be like 5-6 to 1. So that's another reason. It's just like, well, it's worth taking a shot. If Echo Zulu is going to get bet down.
Offshore, I think Kathleen O is like 5 to 1. So
okay.
That might be where people, but yeah, just imagine like a Kathleen O to Messier or Taiba double there. If you're playing the Oaks Derby double, a 5 to 1 and a 6 to 1 or something, that would pay for sure. So, and if you're slim, you're playing that. you're playing all the random doubles for sure. So, I don't know. You kind of wonder if you might. I don't know. My concern with Echo Zulu is that I'm I'm devaluing that race too much, so I need to be careful with that. And again, draw doesn't matter as much in the Oaks, but it's still going to tell you a little bit more about what's how you're going to expect this thing to go. I don't know. Any other thoughts here before we
thoughts on hidden connection?
Gosh, I text you that day. I said, thank goodness it was Hidden Connection trying to run down Echo Zulu, because if it was anybody good, she would have lost. And I stand by that. I don't think Hidden Connection is very good. I think she's all right, but I don't think she can win.
She's not for me.
I agree.
She's never been for me. She's not for me. I don't mean that. If you're betting her, great. She's on the Rattle and Roll and the Crown Pride list, and that stupid Roman source that everybody liked that never could win. Not for me.
And Art, you say it, and that's exactly what kind of the point I was making. It was like, thank goodness it was Hidden Connection trying to run her down, because if it was anybody good, they'd have cruised right by her, Echo Zulu, that is, in that last race. And yeah, I mean, Hidden Connection just it feels like it's always one thing. It's always, she did this and did this. And it's like, no, and part of it is I changed my pick to her in the I had Echo Zulu. And I think we were there, and I changed my pick from her to Hidden Connection, and I've never forgiven Hidden Connection for that. So, I'll never pick her again.
They all said about Hidden Connection, oh, it was a terrible trip, in the Breeders' Cup. And it's like, okay, she got beat by like 30 million links, right? And then last time, or the next race, it's like, well, it was her first out. And it's like, yeah, okay, but she got beat by some really bad horses. And then the Echo Zulu race, it's like, she's backing to get beat, and you couldn't get by. I'm sorry. Like, I don't buy the whole, Echo dug down deep, part of a champion. No. She just couldn't get by. So I don't know what's going to change here for her.
I'm just going through horses here, so don't, but you Geary, is that, the winner of the fantasy? Like, is there any interest there?
Yeah.
I hate that horse. So
no. This horse I hate to turn her loose. I don't think the horse has any shot. Terrible horse. Yeah.
No thanks. Desert Dawn. She won the Stanley Oaks.
No, can't get behind her. That's why I say I think the Oaks is like, whoa, way top heavy. That top 4 or 5 they're gonna be tough to beat those horses.
Yeah, I agree. I think I wouldn't be against playing, if you wanted to like twist my arm, just playing Kathleen O and Nest. I get why I would love to have Echo Zulu on it, but if you're talking about like if we were doing a thin ticket, Kathleen O and Nest, those are the two for me. Give it the O face. You give her the O face much?
Not lately. No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anyways, so that's it. We'll be back tomorrow for at noon. Talk more Derby, noon Central, live with the whole team of Racing Dudes to talk more Derby. Maybe some Oaks thrown in there. We'll see. And again, all hands on deck next week. The Kentucky Derby, the Kentucky Oaks. They're almost here, folks. He's probably still beating you, though, Dennis.
Yeah. I don't know if is that good or bad.
It's definitely bad.
That's still not saying much.
Yeah.
Well, it's Derby. It's Derby week. I guess it isn't Derby week yet, actually. So.
Oh my
God.
It. I'm not putting up that comment, Dennis.
Dennis's comment? No.
No, come on. This is a family place, okay?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Have a little respect. All right, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingnews.com for free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing News premium button in the menu at racingnews.com to learn more. Remember to go get your hands on the inside track to the 2022 Kentucky Derby wagering guide. It's an all-inclusive wager guide for the Kentucky Derby May 7th at Churchill Downs. Features in-depth analysis of all 8 stakes on the card, including the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby. But you also get bonus race by race analysis and betting suggestions for the entire Kentucky Derby card, plus bonus analysis for Friday's Kentucky Oaks. So you want to see what we like there, get that as well. But it also will include an exclusive bankroll wagering article from yours truly, and of course my guy right here, Aaron Halterman. Only available in this guide, horse capsules for each of the 20 horses of the Kentucky Derby and top 4 consensus picks from the entire team at racingdudes.com for all the stakes, not just the Oaks, all the stakes on Oaks Day and all the stakes on Derby Day. Full guide will be available next week. Pre-sale is on right now. We have tons of people already buying that. You'll be the first to get it when it is available. Go to racingdudes.com and go to the products page to get that. Speaking of bonuses you can get, the subscriber-only tournament is back tomorrow. So if you are a subscriber or if you're considering subscribing, you get the guides for free. Great. But you also get invited to play in these bi-weekly tournaments that we're playing with horsetourneys.com. You can play against myself, you can play against Halterman, Somich, Dr. Miranda, Magic. We're all playing in that. If you are a subscriber, just go to the dashboard, hit the button there. You'll see it down the bottom and go enter. Play for cash prizes, $150 cash, $150 site credit at horsetourneys.com. It's tons of fun. We'll do a live stream for it tomorrow as well. While the final races are going on. It's a lot of fun. So if you are a subscriber, you are invited to this. Make sure you go sign up. Just go to the dashboard there to do that. Right now, before Friday, I believe it's probably like around 2 or so Central Time. Starts off 2 or 3. I haven't looked at the schedule yet.
I just bought in. It looks like the last race goes off at 4:32 Central. So I would say from 3 to 4:30.
No, what time does it start?
Oh, it starts at 2 o'clock, 2:05.
2 Central?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So make sure you sign up before 2 o'clock Central Time on Friday. RacingNews.com, your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can check out all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen to podcasts, as well as our YouTube page. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, thank you. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you leave a comment. If you're not, what are you doing? Go to YouTube right now and find us for YouTube/Racing Dudes. Get in on the action. Tons and tons and tons of Kentucky Derby content available now and also upcoming. Speaking of what's upcoming, the Magic Mike Show, they just did Golden Gate Field. So if you're looking for a little handicapping action for this weekend, they did Golden Gate. Late pick 4 with Matt Dinnerman. So Matt Dinnerman's on the show as well. So if you want his insight, along with the Magic Mike guys, make sure you go listen to their Magic Mike show right now. We have Kentucky Derby coverage tomorrow. We'll have more videos coming out. Of course, the draw is on Monday. We'll do a live stream for that. We'll be doing the John White interview on Tuesday. I think we're going to do the dudes at the road on Wednesday to the Derby. I imagine we'll find a way to get on. I mean, it's, again, do you do crack? Like, what do you think? Coffee or crack? One of the two. We're going to have to.
Are they different?
That's true. What you order, it's not different. I've seen what you order. It's crack, iced crack is what you order. I think is when you order it. So
that's right. That keeps me going. That's how I can just be happy all the time and be here talking to you lovely people and being in a good mood. That's how.
I don't want to jinx it, but are we seeing a love connection on our chat here between Shotty and Dennis?
I think we've set something up. I haven't really been paying attention to what you've been saying. I've been trying to follow it. I think we may have played matchmaker tonight, and that's the greatest accomplishment of the show, without any doubt.
We should definitely try to make this happen. That's all I'm saying.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
I don't want to get in the way. I don't want to get in the way of this.
No.
Maybe we can. If you just email us, if you guys want to exchange contact information, we can give it the old face. Dennis, give it the.
I just started it.
Give her the.
Drop an O in the comments.
No shit. Shotty's like, no, and he's like, yes.
Shotty just left.
Yeah, she's like, you guys have now crossed the line. This is over. Barbara Rhodes
2 weeks following you guys.
Yeah, Barbara Rhodes one thing, but Dennis is another.
She's dropping the elf.
All right.
We got to go.
Yeah. I wish we had a clip of that so I could play the O-Face clip, but we
Art's
don't.
going to adopt Shoddy.
That was for you. I know you love that. And actually, that might have been a little bit for Dennis because I know he probably knows who that is. So, anyways, all right. That's all. That's a wrap. We'll be back tomorrow. Live show, noon Central. The live stream for the handicapping tournament. Make sure you sign up for that. We'll be live for that as well. So, hope you like our pretty faces because we are on a lot.
Yeah.
Especially Halterman. He's like the face of the racing news, which I think is scary. Oh, by the way, we if you're going to be at the Derby, your dudes are going to be on doing some live stuff with our friends over at XM and Mad Dog and I think NBC with our boy Patrick. So we'll be doing a live show there with them at the Derby. So I haven't known the details of that yet, but hit us up.
Thinking of Patrick, we need to get him on the show so he can talk to Dennis and Shoddy because before he was into sports, he had a love connection show of some sort where people called in and he's tried to solve their problems.
Yeah, he would be a huge assistance for this situation. I feel like
I believe so. I believe he would be excellent for what we're looking for.
And look, and then you have Art. He's ready to adopt Shoddy as a 12th grandchild. So so now all of a sudden we've got Dennis and Shoddy as a couple, but they also have a grandfather already.
That's right.
Lined up.
We're gonna bring them on a therapist next week. So
we're uniting families.
Yes, we're changing lives.
This is a family show. This is great. I feel, you know what? We may not give you the Derby winner, but you can feel better about your life after you watch one of our shows. So you're welcome, everybody. You're welcome, Shoddy, and you're definitely welcome, Dennis. So,
yes.
All right, guys.
Best thing we've ever done for you, Dennis.
No more hands. All right, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder how we still have a show sometimes, honestly. Good luck this weekend, guys.
This has been a presentation of RacingDudes.com, your destination for all things horse racing and sports betting. Whether you want free winners, expert insider picks, up-to-the-minute trackside weather reports, or podcasts and videos for bettors of all skill levels, never make another wager without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,